What's gonna happen to Allods Online? Which for some reason we've gotten so many requests, for example, about people asking us how this game is doing at the moment with the new release, which everybody knows, with Guild Wars 2. Everyone was assuming this game is going to slowly die down, and I guess we would just basically give some of our thoughts on what's currently going on in the game. From what I've seen, the population has been slowly decreasing. I don't think it's so much to do with Guild Wars 2 as opposed to just some of the strange decisions we've seen in the game. For example, recently in this game, they've given players the options to do a faction change, and it seems like a lot of people are jumping onto one side, which is creating an extreme imbalance, and it makes us even wonder what were they thinking, if they're trying to increase the popularity of this game and so forth. And what do you think?
Well, basically they're doing it. The decision with the faction change surely, in my opinion, is the worst one. It's not the game coming out like Guild War or whatever game coming out. It's mostly that faction change that made both sides seems a bit not up to speed to each other. So
Alright, so just to give you guys that don't play this game some brief background on how this thing works. Essentially, this is a faction-based game where, as we've mentioned before, it is League versus Imperial, and the way apparently the system works is the game will allow one side to switch to the other faction if it determines that there are more active players on one side.
yep, and I think a couple people approached the GM with a couple questions about how are you guys coming up with these numbers? What determined the population? How you guys, figuring out, that the Empire or the League is less or more populated than the other side? And all I've been getting is vague answers, basically.
Now, some people have been questioning the GMs on what exactly the population number is, just so they can, find a way to stop this imbalance. But apparently there's some GMs here, as you can see, they said there's no in-game method to check this, and we do not release population numbers, etc, etc. And if we keep continuing here, there are some other GMs, for example, that say they just simply don't give out the population numbers, but they can tell that the faction change system calculates the population of a given faction based on, quote, active characters. So basically, again, this is making people wonder, well, what's the difference? Like, if someone like an Imperial side makes a level 1 tune, for example, it's basically just creating an obscure number that doesn't make sense just to give one side the benefit.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it's like weird. I don't know why they're not giving us the real number, or they're gonna even, figure it out. But this guy posting, well, if you want to calculate the population, just count how many endgame guild out there in each side. And I'm like, seriously, no, it doesn't work like that. So.
Of course, my only assumption at first is they're just basically introducing stuff like that because in order to do a faction change in this game, it does require a cash shop item, so people actually have to pay real money. And I think, am I not mistaken, is it $20?
$20, and it's gonna be a permanent with a 30-minute cooldown, 30 days cooldown, I believe.
Yeah, so the assumption was people have is they're just releasing all this stuff because they are concerned about the competition, which, like those Guild Wars 2 that came out already rather. So they're just, some people are assuming they're just dumping all this stuff out so that they can take advantage of, all of the cash up items that are available.
It is a business, man, and if they want to appeal to, I mean, we did a video before, and dude, it's the bad way to go around it. Like, you're gonna lose a chunk of people that you want to balance. You want some people who play for free and some people who's willing to spend $1,000 or $100 a week on something like that. But what are you gonna end up having if you just have people spending $1,000? Like, people want to compete. People spend money so you can crush the poor guy who doesn't spend any money. Like, that's how it is. It's sad, but that's how it is. So what do you think gonna happen if you have everyone in one side spending $1,000 a week? Okay, that's fine from the business, but people will get bored and be like, I'm better off spending my $1,000 somewhere else with this guy, poor guy, doesn't have, enough money than myself, and I'll just whack him because I have the bigger wallet.
Now, some people would ask, what is the main attraction which keeps people around, for example, compared to, a game like Guild Wars 2? And from what I've heard, some people were saying there's more endgame PvE content in a game like this versus a game like that. So that was one reason I heard personally why some people are saying they're still playing this game, for example.
From what I heard, I'm not sure about the end game content. Guild Wars always been, for me, the type of game that is all about PvP, and that's what attract a lot of their business. With this new one, I heard they're gonna introduce a lot of PvE, but I'm not 100% sure. So, and for this one, Allods, there's rumors there's gonna be a patch coming up soon with like new content, new instant and whatnot.
Well, I think for the population, that was another factor for the low population right now, is the fact that they did open up a new server, and that's kind of creating a more of a division, because the game itself is not that big when you think about it compared to, like, a World of Warcraft or something like that. And now that they split it off into two places where they're again dividing the population of new players when the game itself isn't that big to begin with, you're kind of seeing the problems rising already when it comes to things like the skirmishes, for example. I hear so many people complaining they're waiting, 20, 40 minutes and still nothing is going on. Now, maybe that's due to, again, people trying new games like the Guild Wars 2, for example, but it seems like they just put themselves back in square one, so to speak, where they were before the server merge.
I agree on that. Like, I'm really shocked of how bad battleground queues are.
Alright, so now usually when a game is at this stage, for example, I think it's not surprising to see that since there are new games like Guild Wars 2 coming out, I think we're gonna expect, basically, they're gonna try to go in full PR mode, basically, just try to get people to, look at the game, just to try to do reviews on it, just to give people on the outside a better look into the game to hopefully attract a better audience. I think as well, what's gonna happen is they're probably just going to use, because of this imbalance right now, they probably only want to show off, for example, people from the Imperial side, because you don't want to show off like what's wrong in the game. I mean, it's no difference, I guess, if you're trying to promote a city to attract tourists. You'll probably try to only show all the good side, not, no poverty areas or what's going on. And it's no different from before, where the Tensis server had less population, and it seemed like promotion-wise, the only thing they promoted was the Nazeb server. So I think this is going to be a little bit interesting.
Dude, I remember it pretty well back in Nazeb and Tensis, when Tensis was the good side, or they actually have the end game going on. They were, the GMs or whatever, were hovering around Tensis more. And then when the thing shifted, they hovered around Nazeb, which is fine, it's for the business. Whatever benefit the business, they're gonna go for it. But is that the right way to attract players? I don't know. I mean, let's bring it back to the population. If you're gonna go and show off the one side, which is the good side, which is the wealthy side, of course you're gonna attract people who gonna just play in that one side, and again, the other side is just gonna be down, non-stop down. So, I mean, yeah, it's up to them, really. I'll give you one example before we just finish. This game survived Rift, and Rift was one of the what's so-called games that is gonna like take over a lot of games. It's gonna take over WoW, it's gonna take over this and that, and this game actually survived it. So, I mean, worst case scenario is gonna be a back burner to some people. So, as long as the developer actually take the right path and actually look at the both, there's two customers in here, there's two sides, and there's a lot of customers in the game, like, so don't pick favors. It's just not right, man. And if you're gonna pick up favors, you're gonna end up losing the whole thing, in my opinion. So
yep, indeed. And like I said, if you're having fun, have fun. Don't worry too much, I guess. And if you just want to leave feedbacks as well. And hopefully, and then you just hope that they're going to listen to your opinions, and it will go from there.
Yep.
All right. Until next time. See you guys later.